allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Today is Thursday, February 6th, and time is 7 p.m. The meeting of the City of Greensburg Redevelopment Commission is called to order. At this time, please silence all electronic devices. Cindy, can we have a roll call?
Darren Burke.
Here.
Ken Dorn.
Here.
Darrell Poling.
Here.
Mark Clustercamper. Mark Ballard.
Here.
Okay, first thing on the agenda is swearing in of members.
I think, did Zach give you all the oaths to sign? Okay, so I think as we've done in the past, everybody's aware and conscious of what they're doing, so by signing that, we'll consider that to be good. We'll skip the pomp and circumstance.
That works.
Perfect.
Please fill that out. Ken, I think you're fine. Okay. Next item is approval of the meeting minutes from January 2nd for regular meeting. I did know there was one correction. I think me and Mark Burker got switched up there, didn't we? Did that get corrected?
I mailed it to everybody.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the corrected minutes were mailed out, or emailed.
Any other corrections? If there are none other, then they stand approved as corrected. Moving on to old business. Zach?
Good evening. The Ironman apartment complex, we had a meeting with them, I think it was just after our January meeting. Very productive meeting, talked about their redevelopment tax credits with the state. They are submitting those, or should have them submitted, or if not this week. And those would be 2027 tax credits, which they agreed that they will get a bridge loan to continue the project moving forward until those tax credits actually come in for them. Chris, city attorney, your attorney, got a draft EA out to us and has a few updates to make on that. He's promised to get that tomorrow. So we'll get that out to Ironman and get that all approved and signed off with them. And they're still planning to start sometime this summer on construction. Our survey was finally correctly recorded. Now we are processing the deed for the next commissioners to get that signed off on. And then it should be in your name.
And, yeah, the commissioners on Monday took the action of all the necessary owner signatures to the survey, which I would also, just formally for the record, thank the clerk's office, the auditor's office, and the assessor's office in making sure that that survey was accurate and done properly and correct. Their attention to detail made sure that everything was smooth, and would thank the commissioners for the execution of that. The survey is now fully recorded. I did update the commissioners on Monday regarding kind of where the project was going. I've been in communication with the county attorney with regards to the deed. We have a prior deed, we just had an inaccurate legal description based on the survey. So once I update the legal description, we should be able to get that transmitted over to President Jeremy Hazel for the commissioners for their signature. So that will close that loop on that particular project, and then we will be able to move forward with the EDA, which, as I said, I drafted the EDA. It's pretty consistent with the EDA that Ironman had shared with us as something that they had done with another community. I tweaked a little bit of language here or there just to, I guess, make it my own, I don't know. But it's prepared. We'll see if they have any additional comments or changes, and then we should be able to proceed on that.
We get the language in there about term of ownership.
That that's the language I have to add tomorrow
Okay.
and make sure that that is in there. There was a little bit of clawback, but there was not that specific 5-year term, and I thank you for catching that. And I will include that in there, whatever, which one we sent to anyone that's out. But it's actually pretty good. So, yeah, so I think we'll get that done.
And the survey stuff now is in one big parcel?
Yes.
Okay. That's the whole, that was part
Yep.
of the survey.
Yep.
Any questions on iron? The bridge on, it's good to hear that we'll keep moving forward. Next, Liberty Lakes.
Liberty Lakes, there's been quite a bit of activity out there recently. The utilities are all in, electric, fiber, at least the conduit, I think, for the fiber. And then the gas. So the gas is active out there. So that all got put in the last couple weeks. The house is making improvements. I know they were putting carpet in the other day. I don't know where they're at with their final completion of the house, but they're still out there working on it. Supposedly they're supposed to get a couple more permits soon to start building at least one more spec home, and then I think one of the lots is actually sold to a person for their house.
Take up before the plan commissioners on it.
Yep, sorry, skip that part. It is approved for the secondary plat. So, as far as that is done, it's completed. I don't know if you can been updated with all the new plats on there or not. No, I think it has. But yeah, it's gone through all of our steps to get moving forward.
Good. Glad it's moving. Hopefully get some houses built this year.
I know, talking to Beacon, they're looking at getting 20 houses built this year, is their goal out there. And then 40 the next year.
Good.
There's a few more people getting lots as it becomes more filled out there, so hopefully we'll see some movement.
Anything else on Liberty Lakes? Report?
Glad to see the progress.
Any updates on property marketing on the other properties?
No major movement on our property marketing. Talked to a few people with interest in property out there, but none of which fit your guys' specifics for desires out there. Had a couple conversations with somebody that threw out the idea of a car dealership. I don't know if anybody's really thought about that. I don't think we've thrown that idea out yet. It's been a few weeks since I've talked to them. More of a developer out of Indy, but I might reach back out to them and see if they've made any more progress on their thoughts into it.
And a lot of that type of business out there, they think it have enough traffic past it. Okay.
Any more feedback on the fitness center?
What's Sarah say? I think they were waiting to get all of their stormwater and environmental paperwork completed. I know they submitted the original plan, and we kicked it back for some comments, and so did the state. So I think they're still going through it. Assume they're still planning to start this year. Assume they could probably knock it out in a year.
They're an independent group that haven't done this a lot, so
Yeah.
I'm sure they're taking it a step at a time. Who's they're moving forward?
Yep.
Any other questions for Zach on old business? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Rob. Decatur Parks Sports Complex agreements.
So before startup, I'm you did ask me to make inquiry as to do some analysis and research regarding the utilization of RDC funds at the park. I will go on the record as having said that municipal TIF statutory language is probably the only thing I like reading less than I do like zoning and planning. So, but after tracing the various exceptions and where everything goes, I think the answer is even though it is not in your allocation area, you can utilize funds if it is to improve an area that services your allocation area. So to the extent, and there's not a lot of case law that interprets what services means. So I do think that we would maybe want to just run it past the Board of Accounts, State Board of Accounts, or you know, some organization at the state level, just to make sure that I'm not wrong. I have reached out to AIM, which is the Advancement of Indian Municipalities, and I'm hoping to get.
Well,
That's unusual.
So I have reached out to AIM to try and get some insight from them to see if they have any additional information or some thought that we haven't had. I was able to find a pretty clear case law that says that so the RDC cannot utilize those funds to maintain that property. They can utilize those funds for capital improvements or to improve the property because it services the allocation area. And so my analysis is really just services the allocation area is a pretty ambiguous term. But ambiguity is the broadsword of lawyers. I don't know, I like ambiguity. I can make a very good argument that this services that allocation area. But that is the specific language. It services the allocation area. So that's where I am. I am still probably hoping to, working on preparing a more formalized legal memo for you to have for your records and consideration. But I do think, barring somebody telling me I'm really wrong, which I have been wrong once before, so that's the only issue that I think.
Would you reach out to State Board of Accounts, or would we ask Amy to do that?
I'm happy to do so. I was kind of waiting to see what AIM gave me first, so I'll continue to follow up with them, just because I was dealing directly with their legal. But I can certainly reach out to State Board of Accounts and double check that situation. So, but yes, those are kind of the last parts of due diligence that I'm trying to ensure that you can do it if you so choose to. But my initial analysis is that if it's for capital improvement, you can.
Okay. Everybody good with that? Okay. Let's open it up to you, what you got?
Well, that kind of covers it. I guess what I was coming here initially for, right, was what we discussed last time, just to see where we were at in the status of, we asked from the last meeting for your guys' partnership out there with the complex and helping us getting it completed. Obviously, we'd like to have your partnership. So I guess that's kind of where we're at, just trying to see, how your guys' feelings are still with helping us there. I will say that, things are going along good there. I don't know if anybody was listening to Commissioners meeting on Monday night, but there are some things in play for us to potentially do all 8 diamonds now in turf instead of just the 4 initially. I know we just discussed the completion of the front 4, but we did speak with AstroTurf, which is actually they're ones that are supplying the turf and acting as a project manager out there for all the ground construction and turf and installation. They made us an offer to not, they wouldn't expect us to make any payments if we decided to back for till December, to the end of fiscal year. And then we also were talking, in our talks with USSSA, they did say that they would commit over the next 5 years, 15 to 20 tournaments to us a year over the next 5 years, if we went to 8 diamonds turf, which I would say that would grow. I mean, as long as we manage that relationship, that would definitely grow to hopefully over 15 to 20 a year. I mean, they're running 70 tournaments a year now, just out of the 3 organizers in our area, between baseball, softball, and C-League softball, and that's gonna grow. So, I mean, I brought sent to you, so I don't know if you guys want me to, I have a printout of it here, I can hand it around. But did everybody get that email with the numbers? Is where the email said that those are actual numbers for Columbus last year. And the numbers that are on there are specifically for hotels, restaurants. Just hotels, restaurants, and like C-stores, convenience stores, stuff like that, people getting gas. So their placer data obviously grabs that, I guess it does a little more diligent job than possibly what we have. And they can kind of determine everybody that comes in from out of county and spends that kind of money, what money they're spending, so. What I had, I feel that number was kind of conservative, but, you know, it's all hopes, it's all speculation right now. We hope to get that many people coming into the city, you know, county, to boost our economic impact with those tournaments, so.
How many diamonds does Sugarland have?
Sugarland has 10 turf diamonds. They just did, I think they had, what was it?
have that many?
They promote 10, I just got a flyer for them the other day, it used to not be 10, we still want to be able to start out.
only like 4 maybe at the most.
They added a couple collegiate diamonds and
They did.
Okay.
there's also some others.
Alright.
Yeah, it was just recently, Mark, it hasn't been that way for a long time.
How short are you on the first 4?
The first 4, we still, there was in it, like the talks we had initially were $100,000 partnership with the city,
Yeah.
with RAC. And then, so on the back 4, though, with our talks, on the back 4, obviously we're still around 200 short. So, I mean, obviously, I'm gonna be, you know, I don't wanna ask that tonight, but it's just the thoughts in your minds, if there's any interest that you wanna partner with us on the back 4 as well. Be around 200 to 225,000, depending where some of the budget numbers fall, with the current funds that we have, so.
So you're here tonight to ask for the 100,000?
Yes.
Board, do you have any discussion or thoughts?
So do you have some kind of a plan for the other 200,000
The additional 200 for the back 4?
for the back one?
Yeah, so that would go directly to, I can show you, so this was something I showed last time. Yeah, I'm gonna put that in, see if we can get it around if you want. So this is what the cost will be to turf the back 4,
Right.
with everything but the 200. We're $200,000 short of that, what we have allocated. And that is taking money from, some of these monies from here to redo the dirt on the back 4 and the equipment that was needed for dirt. We're just putting it back towards that, and we also received additional $345,000 ARPA allocation before the end of the year. That's specifically used for the Parks Department. And that's what I went to the commissioners meeting for on Monday, was to get their approval on using those funds for the back 4 diamonds. So the combination of those funds and that would leave us 200 short on the back 4, just to have the whole complex turfed, and then it's a fully funded project.
So Ron, just, I don't know, some things, questions, just general. Number 1, how are the numbers out there for boys and girls? And 2, would they get the priority of the fields?
Good question.
And 3, you know, when it comes to weekend tournaments, would they also get priority in registration for some of those things?
So, obviously, yes, obviously my biggest intent was, and you know, and I've said it since day 1, was that this benefits the kids within our county first, right? And they have the use and ability to do that, so I am working with our boards to make sure that we come up with a schedule that works best for them. Now, if we enter into turfing the back 4, obviously, logistically for this 1 year, we would have to shift around, allow them to use Kohler Park, those 2 fields, you know, to run some games on until the whole project is complete. I mean, ideally, they'd be able to get scheduled a lot more games through the week, you know, so they'll have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, as they typically do. And actually, I just did this today, so our tournaments that we have, obviously, it's the weekends through the summer. I'll give this to you, Mark, if you wanna look at it, hand it around if you want, but I didn't get to email that because I didn't get it done until today, but, the ones where I have a column on there for if they're gonna use Friday or not. If they don't use Friday, obviously, that opens up to our county leagues. So our county leagues will then be able to use that Friday for their tournaments. So yes, they're priority 1 when it comes to all this. And they, you know, the numbers have been down the last few years. We're hoping that adding turf increases those numbers going forward. I know that the county, the commissioners with it being, you know, they are very, at least talking with them and hearing say, I mean, there's been talks that if this is successful and we generate enough interest, you know, we would like to be able, we're taking over, obviously taking over concession and maintenance of the facility. We would like to be able to offer discounted play for our county kids to get the numbers up as well. Now, granted, that's ran by our softball and baseball boards right now, so it had to be in partnership with them and talk with commissioners how we recoup those monies, where the current money's going. If you get pretty deep, right, as to how that would work. Because I don't want to eliminate any current boards that are running out there, running their leagues right now. You know, you probably know as well as I do, most cities, most counties, whoever's running their parks departments will be the ones that run the recreational leagues. We have a different kind of setup out there. They're their own entity, their own 501c3. So with that being said, it's kind of a sticky area, but we definitely don't want to lose their interest in the work they've done and the things that they've done out there providing. I don't have the bandwidth right now to go out and run a recreational league. I can't myself with everything else going on, right? So that's definitely not something I want to do. I want to keep their interest, their volunteerism, and their help out there as much as I can. But, you know, along with that plan too, with the investment we're putting in there, there's going to be adjustments in field accessibility, how to get in there. There's going to be access control panels to get into those. That way, you know, when it's their time and it's open, and at night it's locked. There's going to be cameras out there finally to try to cut down on vandalism. So it's going to be an adjustment starting out, but I think with that being said, with those boards, we'll definitely work with them to make sure our county gets a priority. So, does that answer your question?
Yeah.
You got a little long-winded, sorry.
Yeah, you could.
I'm pretty passionate about it.
Yeah.
Get excited, so.
And do you want to speak to the reason Gabe Nobby, Decatur County Commissioner?
Yeah, go ahead, yeah.
Just the main reason for wanting to try to do this now is.
Go ahead.
Do you mind just because
Yeah.
otherwise it doesn't catch?
The main reason we're trying to do this now would be, there's a cost savings since they're already on site. So we originally were thinking, let's do this for and then look at, you know, potentially doing the other four later. But the cost savings is significant with them being on site already. And also, we were going to be putting money into fixing the diamonds that were gonna stay sand, dirt, right? So by repurposing that, which I know you mentioned that, but by repurposing those funds and using them towards the turf, plus the cost savings of them there, it makes the most financial sense to do it now. And then we're not trying to have, it also opens up for us to be able to have more tournaments there, both for rec and for travel. So it really just, we wanna do it, we just have to find the rest of the funds. We did get ARPA to allocate those and kind of leave them open to us at the end of last year with the hopes of moving it into this, and so now we have. So like you mentioned, we're 200 short, but we're really close. Thank you for your work.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, just to add to that, I mean, obviously you guys know that having a turf out there when it comes to weather and running games, I mean, the thing it is with our rec leagues, there's not gonna be more downpours in the morning and then still not be able to play at 5 o'clock at night, right? And as far as maintenance dollars goes, I mean, I estimate by doing those back four in turf opposed to dirt, I mean, easily $20,000 a year probably in, you know, maintenance material, equipment just to keep up with them, you know, your clay, I'm trying to think of words of it, any kind of clay you would need and diamond dry, those types of things that you would need to get those diamonds ready if we do have a lot of rain. Now that could depend on weather, but it's just based off what other areas spend on their maintenance. That doesn't include the manpower expense. So you're taking a lot, and you think about that, that basically eliminates a person having to be out there and preparing those diamonds 2 or 3 times a week at least, and then showing up on a rainy day on the weekend to get the diamonds ready. So
I understand the turf isn't totally maintenance free.
it's not totally, I mean, but it is a lot, you know, there's a lot less maintenance to it. You're not out painting you're not out chalking lines and doing things like that every time you play. You don't have to drag them. We do have our groomer already that will, you know, depending on the amount of play, probably groomed every 2 or 3 days to keep it standing up and nice. We do believe that our turf should last 12 to 15 years. And then hopefully with that, I know, and we talked last time saying that, you know, there will be a plan in place that the monies that are spent or the monies that are earned out there are put back in for that complex, and that we do allocate enough back to re-turf those within that 12 to 15 year time span. So.
guess my thought is until we find out, we get a final approval from SBA, that we might table this, and I don't mean to put it off, but I don't want to get the cart in front of the horse either.
I was going to say that would be, my request would be that if your intention is to vote it through this evening, that you make that vote contingent upon
Right.
positive recommendation from the State Board of Accounts or appropriate state agency. Or you could table, but I would ask that if your inclination is to approve the initial expenditure of the $100,000, you allow me to close that loop for my own well-being, just to understand.
I mean, if we're inclined to do it, what kind of a timeline are you on to, set all of this up as far as getting them in to do the turf and, what kind of a crunch are you on?
Well, obviously the weather hasn't helped us, with the snow that we've had. I mean, the date that we have completed is April 5th. First tournament will be April 11th. That's on the front four, diamonds being complete. So I have the project manager's word, even though it's only gonna take them 2 weeks of good weather to get it down. You know, they can come out and roll the turf out with it being below 40 degrees or even, below 50 degrees. They just can't glue the seams until it's 50 degrees. So with that being said, it'll probably be March before it gets done, before actual turf gets glued together. If we decide to do the back four, so then it depends, if we get the approval to do it, if we get the partnerships to do it, and we're okay with moving forward. I would like to know that by March 1, because we have to start dirt work to prepare the back for play 2 for our rec league. At least getting those converted somewhat over, so if we decide not to, there's something going on, because if we do that by March 1 or that March timeframe, let's say even if it's the second or third week of March, we could potentially, if production of the turf and everything goes good, I mean, obviously a lot better weather means quicker turn times on the construction phase. With Shooty being out there doing the work, we could potentially have those ready by May 1, mid-May, all 8 diamonds done. No later than probably June 1st. I mean, that would be my work staying on top of them and driving the project, but that.
Yeah, that answers my question. I didn't just, obviously we don't wanna slow you down either if,
Right.
but whether we vote tonight or whether we don't vote tonight, we still have to wait till that loop is closed. That we can, actually provide that. It's up to y'all.
Yeah.
I need a motion, so I wanna make a motion.
I'll go ahead and make the motion that, we commit to the $100,000 contingent on, approval from the State Board of Accounts. Is that good enough?
Yeah. I assume, I'd say the State Board of Accounts or appropriate state.
Appropriate state agency.
Okay.
Is that a second?
Second.
Motion's been made, and a second. Can I roll call vote?
Darren Burkhart.
Yes.
Excuse me. Ken Dornick.
Yes.
Derek Poling.
Yes.
Mark Cluster-Camper.
Yes. Motion passes.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Can I ask you a quick question?
Yes, please.
You're on the Parks Board. Where are we on getting a pool for the community? I've been asked that question many times.
I'm not on the board, but I'm in their meetings. I will say that, the one speak I've turned, that there's really, I would say it's more on, I'll only speak out of turn here, but it's probably more on the commissioner's decision at that point. Do you want to come up and?
I can just take this stuff.
Yeah, take this stuff. Okay.
Thank you.
I think it is at the utmost priority and focus of the commissioners to make all possible. As far as from a park board perspective, the funding has to be found first, right? So, that's our biggest concern, that's what we're trying to do now. Obviously, two of us are just coming on, one of us has only been there for 2 years, so, trying to learn how to play in the sandbox and how to shift funding all we can in order to make it happen. I mean, is we just gonna rightfully try to pay for it without cash? No, I mean, it's not feasible, right? It's a very large chunk of money. What I will say is that there was some plans to do something different with the pool site. That has changed. That is where the reallocation came, this $345,000, was to put that into the diamonds instead of putting it into that site of where the pool is. The reason for that was because I don't wanna see that pool site go to the wayside. Cause I think once it does, the thought is gone.
I agree.
So what the plan is we have committed the money out of our regular budget just to tear it out and put it into gravel. But we are going to leave the pool house and any other structures that will be focused towards the new pool. Because I would like to personally keep that site. There were some discussions moving it. I don't see the benefit. I think it's a great location for the community, especially with all the other attraction that we're bringing to the diamonds. So that's my thought.
Okay.
Very good focus of mine to try to do anything I can do to make sure it gets built.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I didn't know how much I was allowed to say, so I'm glad Gabe was here.
Moving on to new business, Zach. Freeland Road Reconstruction Financial Committee.
The city has submitted our CCMG 2025-1 application, and part of that application is the reconstruction of Freeland Road from the State Road 3 bypass to just east of Walmart's parking lot. That includes mill and asphalt, reconstruction of some drainage structures, and different parts that are in the road to revitalize that road that needs some attention on it. As I'm sure you're all aware, that is in your TIF area, so the city is asking that you match the city's funding for the project from your budget.
And that match is
$95,727.30, give or take.
good. Entertain a motion?
Yes, we have the funds.
Yes, we do.
I move that we will contribute 50% of whatever the contractor's bid comes in. This is just a preliminary estimate for funding, so I would say we will contribute whatever the final bid is. Sorry, in case it changes, as this being an estimate, we don't have final numbers until bids are received. So I would make the motion, we go ahead and contribute 50% of the final bid.
Motion's been made.
Second.
Seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
The last item is to approve our claims for February. And we have 3 claims from Reedy, 2 from Stephen Legal Group, Veritas, Judy's Secretarial Services. We got our always high Greensburg Municipal Water and Wastewater bill, and then we got some of my payments. The totals for all those claims comes to $7,570.32. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second, Mark.
Seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. And that's it on our agenda items. The next regular scheduled meeting is Thursday, March 6th, 7 p.m. And I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. Meeting is adjourned. Stick around.